So
Yeah.
everybody that has waited patiently for us, we are absolute technical morons. So we just got to go in. Just for some context for everybody that is going to watch, Lumpy had to drive all the way over to Jake's house because we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
That is true.
That is true.
And we live like 23 minutes apart. So
it is very true.
So what is your guys' delay looking like?
What is our what? Delay?
So mine's about 12 seconds.
I'm not in yet.
So mine's about 12 seconds.
All right, that's about ours.
That's actually really good, believe it or not.
What's that?
Most of the time, anything under 15 seconds is actually a good delay in YouTube.
Yeah. Fuzzy.
But Fuzzy says hello to y'all. He's one of my Discord guys too. You guys should get on the Discord, man. You guys are missing out.
Hello, Fuzzy.
I need to try. I don't even know exactly what Discord is, but I need to get on there.
It's like a chat room. That's all it is, but it's the chat room. It's directly related to my sports betting.
Gotcha.
So today, guys, this is our first show this year. For everyone that is going to watch this, thank you. For everyone that should watch this, you should be watching it. But so I'm going to call it Primetime Picks this year, and a couple reasons. That's what it is. And the other reason is because we need to be more professional. And I know you guys probably don't want to hear that, but we do need to be more professional.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I actually have it connected to the sports as opposed to gaming or casinos. So I actually have it connected to the sports algorithm in YouTube.
Okay.
Okay.
And so everyone that doesn't know, this is SquarePair Craps. This is on your left is Lumpy. On your right is Jake. As you can tell, Jake is not dressed up in Broncos garb because he's not a Broncos fan.
Dude, I had to bring it. It's week 1. We're undefeated right
now. No cussing. But anyway, so you guys know these guys if you watch their channel and hopefully sub to them. You guys thank everybody that subbed to these guys and got them to 1,000. They appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and speaking of the Broncos gear, I'm surprised you're not in it, Wager, because all I've heard from you and Lumpy this last week is Russell Wilson's going to win the Heisman, Russell Wilson this, Russell Wilson
the Heisman. He's going to get Reggie Bush's Heisman.
Yeah, that belongs to Vince Young.
I'm a big fan of the SquarePair too, Bam. So check this out. This is what we're going to be doing, guys, on this channel. We are going to be breaking down all 3 NFL primetime games, and sometimes there's 4, or sometimes it's Thanksgiving. We'll count them as primetime as well. But we're going to break down all the primetime games, and we're going to give out some teaser picks, some upset picks, some prop picks. We're going to do a little more on here. These guys could possibly give out a college football pick. I could possibly give out a college football pick. I might give you an F1 racing pick. You never know.
Max Verstappen to win.
So that's what we're doing on here, guys. And so we're going to start this off, and we are going to talk about some news in the NFL. So I'll let one of you guys go first. Tell me what you got. Some interesting news or something.
I think the big news of the day is Kelsey, right? And they're saying that one of the practice squad tight ends said he actually got first-team snaps today, which I thought was interesting that he would jump Bell and whoever the other guy was. But they said that the practice team tight end was getting first reps with Mahomes and the first team. And so I thought that was kind of interesting. But I think that's the biggest news, especially in terms of Thursday's game. But I don't know, man. I mean, we all saw the line move from 6.5 down to 5. You think he's going to play? I guess we find out tomorrow.
He hyperextended his knee for sure. Well, I know that for sure because that's what's reported. So the way the NFL works, you have to report it. If it's an injury, like it has to be as close to what you know as possible. There's all kinds of stuff that can, like negative stuff that can happen if you don't report it correctly. So I know that's what they said. And I also know that they've come out and said there's no damage to the ACL.
Yep.
Yeah.
They did say that.
And I know that a hyperextended knee is generally 2 to 4 weeks. So I would say he doesn't play.
That's all right. More touchdowns for other guys who have higher payouts. That's what it is.
Wager.
Now, yeah.
I got a question for you. Let's say they rest him, right? Because they have the Super Bowl experience, all that stuff. If he misses the first month of the season, does that impact any future bets you would place on Kansas City or one of the other AFC contenders?
We'll see. I don't know Kansas City's schedule off the top of my head, but the first part of their schedule is bad, right? It's tough. It's really hard. So they go, it goes Lions, Jags, Bears, Jets. Lions, Jags, Bears, Jets, Vikings.
So the Bears are the cakewalk in there.
So they could probably get away with that, but Jags, they need him against the Jags.
Yeah, if him and Chris Jones are out versus the Jags, that's a competitive game all of a sudden.
I mean,
I don't know where that game's being played, but that could be real competitive.
They were down. That was competitive last year in the playoff game.
Yes. Jags, Kansas City, that was competitive. It'll be interesting. Jags this year for sure.
I can't wait to see the Jags.
So here's something I will say though. Mahomes has never lost. He's 5-0 in openers, and his opening stats are insane.
Ridiculous.
Not just his 4-game stats, but he's never thrown an interception in game one.
At least 3 touchdowns.
At least 3 touchdowns in every game one.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. He's had Kelsey for every game of his career but one, and it was the game he played as a rookie. So every other game in his career, Kelsey's been there. Now, there's a few that they sat, all of them sat, but every other game that mattered, he's been there for him. So this has value. This has merit. There's 1 point seems like a little bit too minor for Kelsey. And I think the reason they're doing that is because they're not sure he's out.
Right.
Because that hasn't been what's been reported.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the internet and it's not working.
So here's my question back to you guys. If he is out, Chris Jones doesn't look like he's obviously going to be there. And if he was, he's not probably in football shape. So he's out. Travis Kelce is kind of he's their main driving force, right, on offense. Everything is kind of built around Kelce when you watch them play. So does that mean Detroit has a chance? Because I didn't really give Detroit a chance up to this because Mahomes has never lost in the first game. I didn't think he would lose this one.
Oh, that's tough, man. I think you have to. I still like the overplay. I still think there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think Mahomes is going to find trust in someone else. This will give him a chance to find trust in someone else. Sky Moore is supposed to play a bigger role in the offense this year. It's been said, I think the GM said that he's going to be on the field every play on the offense. So, I don't know. The Chiefs, man, Mahomes 5-0. How can you go against that? Like, ride it until it doesn't ride anymore.
Right? I mean, I don't know how you bet against it either. What's kind of crazy is the Chiefs don't cover a lot of spreads. Like, they're kind of notorious for it.
Right.
And this is the type of spread they don't cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
It's not a 14-point spread, so they'll win by 4 is what they'll do. It'll be 34-30. You know,
Right.
that's what they'll do, and
Yeah.
they'll have the ball. They'll have the ball down in the red zone at the end of the game. They'll just nail on it. You know,
Yeah. Or
because that's what they do.
oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, the Lions are interesting though. Like they had Swift and Williams, and they got rid of both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Both of them, and now they got
Jameer Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs. Yep. And who's the other guy?
Well, I think they think Gibbs is going to be the real deal. So
Yeah, because they traded up for him, I think, for like the 12th pick, which is really interesting because running backs these days, you're not really trading up for running backs, but they must believe in him big time. So yeah, they've mentioned him as a receiving threat as well. So I think it's going to be an entertaining game, man. I can't wait. I mean, who can't wait for football for Mahomes?
yeah,
And the Lions don't play much D, but
They do not.
and their offense at home is different than their offense on the road. But if their offense on the road in game one can improve from where it was last year, then we got a ball game. You know, I still wouldn't bet on them to win, with one exception, which I'll get to in a sec. But I agree with Lupp. I think I'm still Kansas City all the way.
Now, here's something for you. Who do you think gave up the most passing touchdowns last year as a defense?
I saw this step today.
passing touchdowns.
Yep.
Kansas City, maybe.
Yep. 33. Second place was 29. That's a lot of touchdowns in the air.
That is a lot.
So if Goff can play as well as he played last year, I mean, the Lions have a shot. Tanya's saying take the under. No, I'm not on the under. Sorry, Tanya. We're opposite there.
Well, one of the things is the game one of the season has went under a bunch of times.
Right.
So
what was it? Chiefs Patriots? Was that 5 years ago? Kareem Hunt went off that night. It was like 44-10. You remember that game? I think it was like 2017, 18.
Yeah, it was a while back.
I don't know.
yeah, that's crazy news for Kelsey. It's funny how we went from Kelsey all the way into the game, but that's okay. Because it makes sense because he's a huge part. So let me ask you this. Okay, so last year, the same kind of rhetoric was being thrown around with no Tyreek Hill, right? People were saying the Chiefs' offense is going to struggle. Is that kind of the same thing this year again, now that Kelsey's hurt, likely?
It's a good question.
Maybe, but not as much buildup because they had more time to talk about Tyreek Hill. Like the game's 2 days away.
That's a great point.
Not everyone's coming out saying that.
Well, and you had you had all summer long to develop game plans without Tyreek Hill, whereas this 2-day notice, like
right,
you probably knew a lot of your plays at this point going into this game, and now, but I mean, it's Andy Reid. It's that's I'm not gonna I'm not gonna bet against Andy, except for one exception.
Chicago?
On this one wager?
Oh gosh.
Huh?
You want to hear my one
Number
exception?
12, number 12.
Let me hear it.
No, and I'm talking about the Lions game. So
Yeah.
DraftKings has a bonus, which I know a lot of people play DraftKings. Some people use other ones, but that's what I use. So that's what the one I'm referencing. But they have a bonus to where if your team gets up by 7 points at any point in the game, you win your bet. So today, when the Lions are plus 200, and the Chiefs are notorious to be slow out of the gate. I went back and looked at their scores for the last 4 years. Dude, it is pretty common that they fall behind early. They're just, and then Mahomes has that insane record, far better than Brady, far better than anybody, as far as coming back from double digits down. Well, you don't get double digits down if you're fast starters. The Chiefs are not fast starters. So I was like, you know what? I feel like for plus 200 versus a slow starting team, that's worth that bet, And so that's the only reason why I made a single unit bet. I'm not going crazy. A single unit bet on the Lions, and I attached that bonus to it. So if they get it up 7-0, Oh, plus 200 is a winner. But I would not bet the Lions to win this game without that, without that out right there.
So, okay, cool. So let's move on. Lumpy, you have any interesting news for us? Anything special, college, pro football you might want to talk about?
Interesting news. CU's really good this year.
See you, the Buffaloes.
I knew that was coming.
We're gonna
They
upset
win.
USC. We're gonna upset USC.
They won one game in like 13 years.
I know, I'm kidding. No, I didn't, because we got this. I didn't have time to get that research done. I do have 2 upset picks for you, but I don't have
Very
any.
nice.
Huh?
Nice.
So I'm fired on that part. I do not have any news. Do you have any news, Wager?
I don't really have any news because we all know the Buffalo news. It's been around. Kelsey news was new. We talked about that. But I do have some interesting things I just kind of want to talk about before we move on. And that's week 1 and week 2 in the NFL. So I treat week 1 and week 2 totally different than every other week in the whole NFL season. Week 1, I look at teams that didn't have a lot of changes. Same coach, same quarterback. I don't want to see a bunch of coordinators leave. That means that you didn't have to install as much.
Okay.
When you came in, you didn't have to do as much work. You just built on what you already had. So teams that had a lot of change, they usually struggle a little at first. And I can point to multiple years back. The Chiefs, even when the Chiefs redid their whole offensive line, their first couple weeks weren't pretty. Then it got better.
Yep.
The Bengals last year redid their whole offensive line. The first couple weeks weren't pretty. It got better.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I look at. So the teams that don't do a lot of changing in the offseason, they're going to be way further ahead. So when you're looking at week 1, you see a team that didn't do any changing versus a team that did a ton of changing. The team that didn't change is going to be better. And they're going to be better almost every time. And so sometimes you get that team getting points. It happens every now and then. And that's just a really good angle to look at. And there's definitely some this week. I'm not going to talk about them specifically on here because that would be against, the people that buy my package, and I don't want to do that.
Right.
And then week 2, you get the overreaction, right? Let's say there's a big upset. Well, you don't know if it's a big upset in week 2. The team may have got better, and they may be better than that other team. And the next thing you know, that team's 6-2. That upset supposedly happened. Sometimes teams get better, sometimes teams get worse. It happens every year, right?
Absolutely.
So there's week 2. Just don't buy the hype. Whatever you thought week 1 is probably still the same week 2, just because something weird happened. I feel like this just happened in the Clemson game. I don't think Clemson's a bad football team. Clemson ran the ball down and threw the ball down their throat, but just kept fumbling inside the 5. I don't think Duke's a bad football team. I just don't think that they're 28-7 good.
Right.
And so that's kind of the same thing. We see it in the NFL every year. I think there's a couple prime games that this could happen in. And I'll bring one up because I'm going to use it later anyway. But San Francisco has to go to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
If San Francisco loses that game, that doesn't mean San Francisco's bad.
Right.
That doesn't mean that at all. Pittsburgh's good. They're just on their way back, but it's going to look like, oh my God, San Francisco lost, and not really all that big of a deal.
Right.
Well, and it's a West Coast team going to East, and it's an early game.
And
if your name's not Russell Wilson, the rest of the history of the NFL doesn't fare well in that situation.
It does not.
Yeah. And it just lines up for Pittsburgh to win it. It just lines up right. They have a contract dispute with their best edge rusher. He's probably not playing.
Nope.
So
Nick's not playing.
He's not.
So that's a big deal.
That
Pittsburgh's not going to get sacked much.
Yep.
It changes when he's not there. We've seen it when he's not there. It's not the same.
Yeah, I'm sure Kenny Pickett is not sad about that.
I bet he is not. So that's just kind of my interesting stuff. Week 1, week 2, totally different than the rest of the weeks. Once you get to week 3, 4, 5, and on, the NFL really lines out, and we know this from betting on it. It lines out, and the Vegas gets good at picking it. They get really good at hitting those spreads right,
Yep.
and the totals too.
And there's always a week somewhere in the middle where there's just a bunch of upsets.
Yeah, that happens too. But so that's just kind of my thing. So let's move on. So let's go to the primetime breakdown. We kind of broke down the Thursday night game already, but let's go on and do it completely. So one of you guys take off on the Thursday night game. Tell us everything you got on it. What you think's going to happen. Where you're at on it.
Where you at on it, Jake?
I might side with Tanya a little bit. I think it could go over without Chris Jones.
She says under.
Oh, she's saying the under.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm
Okay, so
Tanya's saying the under.
then I might side with Lump because I don't think there's going to be a ton of defense. I just don't. And yeah, there may be, the first quarter and a half because so many teams don't play their starters much in the preseason. I think there is rust, So I think we'll probably get off to a slow start, but I don't know that Kansas City's defense minus Chris Jones. They lost Frank Clark too, right? He went to the Bears. I don't even know who's on their defensive line at this point. So in Detroit will have weapons, and they're going to have a good offense. But I just think in the end that Kansas City pulls it out. Wager, would you like the
Hold on, you guys are cutting out.
Cutting out. Uh-oh.
Okay, now I hear you. There was that was probably mine or someone's internet cut out a little bit. Say what you said again, Jake.
Would you like my bet for that game, or do you want me to hold off on that?
Whatever, if it's an upset or something, but I mean, if you have a play on it that you want to give out, that's cool. If not, you just, you say your part. We'll see what Lump says, see what I say. And, we're going to give out these picks at the end anyway, like for teaser plays. And,
Right.
but if you have a play and you want to tell the people, let them know.
How do you play?
Okay. I really like on the passing props. Mahomes is over 2.5 touchdowns. Is plus 114. He's plus money, and like you just said, his stats in in openers in the month of September are just ridiculous. And if I get Mahomes to throw, over 2.5, and I'm getting plus money, I'll take that all day. Especially early in the season, they're not dealing with Kansas City like snowy weather and all. Like it's going to be fine. Like Saturday is going to be gorgeous. So that is my favorite bet of this game. Was going to be a little different with Kelsey, but assuming Kelsey's not there, I still think Mahomes I still think he probably gets to 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Nice. I'm going to go. So the Lions were one of the worst teams in run defense last year. And I think Pacheco, now that he's the starting court running back for sure, Pacheco has a big game, especially with now the news of Kelsey. I think they rely on him. I like Pacheco's over rush yards, 50.5. I don't know that I didn't get to deep dive this game. I'm trying to remember if the Lions didn't really beef up their defense, did they? They didn't do
Gardner Johnson and a guy from Pittsburgh came in their secondary.
Okay. I really like the over in this game. I still think even without Kelsey, Mahomes is going to throw it all over the yard. Pacheco's going to have a good running day. But I don't think without Chris Jones, the Chiefs ain't going to stop the passing from the Lions. So yeah, I fully see this like 30, 34, 24, 34, 27. So,
Oh, that's a different game to watch.
yeah. Totally.
So I got a different take than you guys a little bit. I mean, it's same, but it's different. The Lions team total is only 23.5. I think they easily scored 23.5.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think the Chiefs could win this game in a 17-14 game. If it goes like that, I think that favors the Lions.
Yeah.
So last year, if you remember week 1, the Lions went toe-to-toe with Philly.
Yes.
It was like 38-35 or something like that. It was a crazy game. So the Lions prepare well when they have time. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the Detroit over 23.5. Now, I love the Mahomes over 2 touchdowns, and I actually love the Pacheco play as well. Because with no Kelsey, they're going to have to lean a little bit on the run.
Yep.
And they've been saving Pacheco back to unleash him because it's how he is. You can't play him until you need him because he runs too hard.
Yep.
And so I agree. I also kind of, with Kelsey out, I like McKinnon. I think McKinnon will be put in those roles to catch first downs. I think McKinnon's receptions may be a play. Obviously a touchdown because he scores a zillion of them with Mahomes. Mahomes loves that. His play is follow Mahomes around.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much.
So
The thing with Andy Reid and his running backs, it's so like McKinnon will go off for 2 or 3 touchdowns, right? And then the next week he won't have any. Then it'll be somebody.
and he'll have 2 touchdowns and 7 yards.
Right. But then like the next week he doesn't even see the field. It just, I don't know. He's very wishy-washy with his running backs near the goal line. But I think with no Kelsey, yeah, I really like the Sky Moore touchdown. That's plus 190.
That is good.
What's that?
Yeah, the Lions definitely have Williams out. I mean, that's going to hurt them. But they didn't have Williams till the end of the year last year, and they were pretty good without him. So
The Lions didn't have Williams.
until the end of the year last year, he was hurt all the beginning of the year.
Are you
I'm talking about Jamison Williams.
Oh,
from Alabama?
Oh, okay.
Right, and he's not going to be there for the first couple of games this year. Tanya's talking about this. Tanya, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm going Detroit team total over 23.5. So
Okay.
this is what I have as your guys' officials for this game because we're going to keep track of this year.
Yeah.
You got Mahomes over 2.5, Jake.
I do.
Lumpy?
Yeah.
We're going Pacheco over 50.5.
Yep.
Are you officially taking the over?
That's one of my teaser picks.
Okay, so we'll cut that off as an official.
No.
All right, and I got Detroit over 23.5 as my official for this game.
Okay.
So let's move on to the next game. The next game is Dallas Giants primetime Sunday Night Football in Big Apple. Well, it's actually almost the Big Apple.
Yeah.
But anyways, big time game. Dallas bringing in the new look offense with Mike McCarthy. I honestly don't know what they're thinking here with this Mike McCarthy thing. We know what Mike McCarthy's offense looks like, and it looks like getting fired in Green Bay.
Yeah.
You had a Hall of Fame quarterback, and you got fired.
That's true.
He's horrible. He's horrible at clock management. He is not great at play calling. Like, it's not going to be good.
I just don't get it. Like, why would you fire the guy? Their offense scored 32 points a game last year.
Yep.
Like, why? What? It's not the offensive coordinator. If you're scoring 32 points a game, it's not the offensive coordinator.
Needed a scapegoat. Save one more year of his job.
And you know what San Diego did? They're like, he's available?
We'll take
Yeah, we'll take him.
Yep. Maybe they'll stop going for it on 4th down.
You know, I think we saw that a little bit in the preseason where it looks like it's all Kellen Moore's offense.
Yeah.
But so on this game, what do you guys like? This is the $40 million man game, the $12 million running back and the $40 million quarterback.
Yes. And they drafted a stud offensive lineman from Minnesota. And then they have all healthy receivers this year starting out, which is good.
Darren Waller.
Yep. And
They'll have him for like 23 plays.
Yep. He'll be injured next week, but he might be good for 1 week.
True.
Yeah. I don't know. The Giants. I think the Giants can pull the upset here.
At home catching points.
3.5, right? Is it still 3.5? It was 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 when I last saw it.
At 3 right now, over under is 46.5.
Oh, it's at 3 right now.
Yeah.
So it got bought down.
Cowboys won both games last year by 7 and by 8, right? So won by a touchdown both games. Did either team improve significantly that would shape this game to be much different? I don't know that either team got that much better or that much worse. To your point that you mentioned earlier, at least the Giants finally had continuous coaching this year. Last year was his first year, right? And so it's another year for him and that offense to get used to each other. Whereas Dallas did lose their offensive coordinator.
I disagree. I think it's totally different. The Giants didn't have any receivers last year. None. They have a tight end. Who's the rookie they drafted? Wide receiver?
The Giants?
Yeah.
Third rounder from Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt.
That's it. They got Hyatt.
He was good at Tennessee.
Yep. And then stud offensive lineman helps Saquon and Daniel Jones.
So they needed help out.
I think the Giants are much improved from when they faced Dallas last year.
So let me ask y'all this. Does the Dallas defense worry y'all any? Because they're really good. Really good.
They're really good. I think the Cowboys take care of business, and I am not a Cowboy fan, but I feel like they're going to take care of business. And that's impacting how I'm betting this one.
So, and the Dallas got Brandon Cooks.
They did.
Yep.
But then they said, we're going to run the ball more and got rid of Ezekiel Elliott.
Right. And now
it's just Mike McCarthy stuff, man. It's who he is.
Well, when they signed I think a pretty decent defensive player as well, because they brought in.
Yeah, they got Gilmore too.
Stephon Gilmore, yeah. And then their first round draft pick was a defensive tackle from Michigan, Maisie Smith, who was pretty dang good. And then they took Michigan's tight end in the second round. I just feel like New York is not going to be tough enough in the trenches to be able to slow down Micah Parsons and crew. I think the Cowboys get it.
So check this out, sidebar here. I bet the Reds today plus money. I bet the Rockies today at plus 184. Both hit.
Nice.
There we go.
Nice.
Yeah, today was a really good day. I hit 7 for 7 in baseball today. And all 4 guys were Atlanta Braves, but I had 3 of them hitting home runs, 3 of them with at least 2 base hits, and then Michael Harris, who people sleep on him. And this guy knows I bet Michael Harris all the time. He bats 8th or 9th in Atlanta's lineup. He has the second highest average on the team. He's a 293 hitter. And he bats right in front of Acuna. And it's like, dude, he gets his hits because he's almost a 300 hitter, and then he gets knocked in all the time. But yeah, 7 for 7, all batter props on the Braves.
That's awesome. I was in the same boat, but I had a bunch on Acuna, and he just screwed me today.
Yeah.
But I had the same type of bets. I love Harris, man. If Harris was anywhere else, he would be the leadoff hitter.
Right.
He would be.
But I kind of like their throwing him up there in front of Acuna.
Yeah. You know what the Braves manager does? Their skipper, he's like, y'all just make a lineup.
You guys decide. You
Yeah.
guys, yeah. I had a really nice. I was on Olsen and Azuña, and then I was heavy on Pete Alonso tonight. I took all his hitting props.
So let's sidebar all the way here. Let's talk about a little baseball betting. Why prop betting in baseball on hitters is the way to go. Let's talk about this.
It's plus money. It's plus money.
Plus money.
Like Matt Olson, RBI leader, right? Okay, this isn't plus money, but his RBI was minus 105 tonight.
Against McCockles or whatever.
Yeah, against St. Louis, which he didn't get till later in the game, but still, like, prop betting is fantastic in baseball. Like, I have not bet outside of tailing Jake on a couple things. I have not bet side for baseball in I don't know how long, like months.
So on these, you take and you look at a team's lineup. The Braves are great. The Dodgers are another good one, but the Braves are the best, right? Because they're the best hitting team overall. So you got Acuna, and then they kind of mix around their second hitter, and then their third hitter is Riley, and then it goes Olsen, Azuña.
Mm-hmm.
So those two for the RBIs are money.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There's always someone on base.
Always. Yep. And then Houston hitters, like, just pick a hitter. Yeah. Dodgers, Freeman and Betts. You can't go wrong with Freeman and Betts. JD Martinez was great until he got injured. That's it. You just got to pick the middle of the lineup or really good hitters at the beginning of the lineup. Like,
or knowing who's hot. The last month, Trey Turner and Bryce Harper have been amazing for me.
And also, like Julio Rodriguez, he went on that run.
Yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he was torrid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now Altuve has 5 home runs since yesterday.
Well,
I know.
He had 3 of them tonight.
I know, and 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
Like,
I absolutely believe the Braves are the best team in baseball. But the last thing the Braves wanted to see was Houston get hot.
I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Because Houston has proven that as long as they get in the tournament, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I placed the bet the other day. Braves and Astros to meet. It was like plus 1,200.
I like that.
So
that's a good one. I love that one.
Yep. Both to win the conference. That's what it was. Braves to win their conference and
The Astros in the AL, the Astros pitching is better than everyone else because Tampa, their pitching's all hurt.
It is. Yeah.
Yep. So the Houston Astros pitching is better than all the other AL teams.
Oh yeah, and Baltimore, I don't think they have the studs to make a deep run.
Not ready yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not there yet.
Yeah, they're close, but
Seattle doesn't have the offense. If they get in, they don't have the
right.
offense.
Seattle can pitch. They lose a lot of games 3-2.
I know they don't have the offense. I don't know who's going to beat Houston in the AL.
If Texas can't just bash you for 10 runs a game, they can't win. And I love Texas. I put an over bet on them at the season win totals to start the year. I need 6 wins. I've needed 6 wins for like 2 weeks.
You'll get it. They got to have some easy teams coming up. They got to have. I haven't checked their schedule. You should have it.
But yeah, I'm going to put that in too. That 1,200 on Atlanta, Houston to get there because that makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, it's a parlay, right? So just whoever wins the AL wins the NL.
No, I love that.
Houston's odds might be dropping because
I bet.
What's that?
I bet.
Oh yeah, what'd they win tonight? 14-1 was the last time I looked.
It was close.
It was close. What, for the first pitch?
All they had to do was put Altuve out there.
Yeah.
14-1, 20 hits.
It was 14-1. Houston won. Beat the Rangers.
Yeah, 20 hits.
20 hits.
But no, I am in love with betting baseball props. Like It's awesome. I mean,
All
plus,
right.
and if your guy doesn't get it, go back to him the next day. Like,
Yeah, like Acuna is gold for tomorrow.
oh yeah, because he didn't get
He
it.
went 0-4 or 0-5 today. He's going to go 2 out of 3 with a home run tomorrow.
Yep, for sure.
So let's move back to this Dallas and Giants game. Let me hear a pick. Give me a pick, someone.
All right.
Pick. Oh,
As far as our bet, or just who we think is going to win?
Whatever. Give me a bet. We're looking for a play on it.
do they have?
Okay.
Do they have a receiver to drop the most passes? Bet?
Oh, here we go.
Do they have?
All right.
See, you already knew who I was talking about. I didn't have to say his name. You already knew. You already knew.
All right. Wager.
No hands, CD Lamb.
Here, yeah. The guy's going to have like 14 touchdowns this year, but he's got to. Okay. All right. I think Dallas is going to win the game, right? So, and Tony Pollard is the starter now with no Zeke. So I think Tony has a great chance at getting in the end zone. So you can bet him as an anytime touchdown score minus 135, or what I'm going to do, instead of paying minus money at 135, scroll down a little further on touchdown score on DraftKings. And again, I'm assuming other sites have similar things, but Tony Pollard to score anytime and Dallas Cowboys to win the game is plus 135. So I'm already thinking that Dallas is going to win this game. They won last year both games by 7 and 8 points. I think they got better more substantially than the Giants did. And Pollard without Zeke there is probably going to find the end zone. So instead of paying minus money for it, instead of paying minus 135, I'm going to go for plus 135. That's my bet for the Sunday night game.
I like it.
I do like it.
So Pollard, TD, Dallas to win.
Yeah, and it paid 135. So it's plus money, but it's two things that I think have a really good chance of happening.
Yeah, I feel like if Dallas is going to win, Pollard's probably got to score.
Right. And who knows? Maybe some of the trust issues with Dak even comes into play. Dak is the guy who scares me because I feel like this preseason, a lot of the stuff we've seen out of their camp is Diggs talking trash to him. Some of his passes being way off. And I'm wondering if he's feeling the pressure of him, his contract situation. Like I don't know if that's getting to him, but Dak just doesn't screw it up. I think Dallas wins and Pollard scores. But that's my pick. What you got, Lone?
I left my sheet.
Well, remember, you're graded on this. You don't got to have a pick in this game.
What's that?
You're graded on this.
I'm graded on
Yeah.
this?
I'm keeping track of this. We're going to come out. I'm going to have the record of this every week.
Public record.
So these are official picks.
I know they're official picks.
Somebody can sue you.
So I don't have to pick this game?
You don't have to pick a pick. This is serious business. People may tail you.
Okay, then I'm not picking a pick this game.
Okay.
I'm not picking a pick.
I actually like that because I can see where everything would be iffy in this one. But
Yeah.
I'm going to go a little different than this is outside of the box, and this is mostly value, but also based in the fact that this team is really good at making turnovers. And I'm going to take Dallas to score an anytime touchdown.
The defense?
On defense.
Yeah.
So they caused the most turnovers last year and the year before, I believe. All right. On top of that, they got that Turban kid returning kicks. And so I feel like all of what Dallas is on defense fits a plus 600 special teams defensive touchdown. I'm willing to go for 6-1.
It's 550 now. So you must have played to bring that line down.
So I've already placed it, but my bet didn't mess with the line.
How do you know?
Well, it wasn't big enough. So, but that's where I'm at. I like this plus 600. I got a 600. If it's at 550, I like that too. But I just think that between the kick returner that they have, he's probably the best kick returner in the league. And then just their defense being able to cause havoc. And I trust Daniel Jones to mess up a little bit. I trust him to fumble the ball. He's going to have constant pressure on him. And I think that Dallas's corners are superior to the receivers for the Giants. So I actually don't think the Giants are going to score very many points in this game. I think they're going to be held down pretty well. And I think it's worth even 5-1 to have a good shot at this. What Giants probably punt 6-7 times in this game? So you're going to get that many chances.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
And then, one strip sack, one interception by Diggs. I mean, this is what Dallas does. This is how they live and die on defense. They put a lot of pressure on you and they turn you over. You like Barkley in the running game? I mean, I don't know what Barkley's stats were against Dallas last year. I don't know if they were good or bad. But going against Dallas's defense is not a good thing for anybody. They are really good.
They are. I was looking for a Micah Parsons sack prop, but it's not up yet.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
I mean, that's probably a pretty good one. So,
but it's
and
not.
usually,
So
usually you'll get the guys that are good at 0.75. That way you lose on a half sack. But Micah Parsons tends to get his all by himself.
Right, for sure.
But that's where I'm at. I like that plus 600 on the special teams touchdown, defensive touchdown. That I'm got it. I got it.
Got it. Mail it in.
Tanya, you're definitely, talking about the Giants here, but all that stuff is fine. I'm referring to that Dallas's defense is elite. I'm referring to that they understand play action. They understand what the Giants bring. They play them twice a year. There's a reason why the Giants don't beat Dallas, and it's the defense. Because I think in one of the games last year, Dak had like 3 interceptions, or maybe that was the Eagles game. But the Giants still lost. But I don't for a second think that the Giants are better than Dallas in any way. I don't think any position besides running back, and that's somewhat questionable. I think every position on Dallas is better.
Really? You think they lost Schultz at tight end? You think?
Okay, so
you think
that's the one I'll give you. But I think Dallas has a pretty good tight end backing him up. And I can't remember his name now.
Ferguson?
But I think Ferguson. I don't trust Waller to stay healthy. I think he gets popped one good time.
Oh yeah, I think he's out week 2 for sure. I think he's got one game in him. He's got one game.
So, all right, let's move on to the last game, the Monday night game. This is actually the game that a lot of people care about because it's the Aaron Rodgers game.
Yeah.
The Jets and the Bills. It's in New York. Well, again, it's not actually in New York. It's in sub-New York.
Right. East Rutherford.
East Rutherford. Where Tony Soprano lives.
Exactly.
But what do you guys think about this one? This one's tricky. Like, this is the most tricky one to me.
This is, yeah, by far, this would be the hardest one to bet, I think. I don't know. The Bills, they were, 13-3 last year? They just didn't look 13-3. They didn't feel dominant. Or 13-4. I think it was 13-4.
No, it was 3 because they're the game.
Remember?
Oh, that's right. The game versus Cincy. Yeah. It's tough, man. And then, like you said, Buffalo's not bringing in a ton new. The Jets are bringing in a lot new, right?
I agree.
New offensive coordinator. who is not a great head coach, as we found out last year. Yep, new quarterback. I mean, the Jets beat them last year without a quarterback. I don't know. This is a tough game to handicap. I mean, 2.5. It's tough. This is a hard game, in my opinion. I do think I would say the under is in play. I think the Jets defense is really good. Bills defense, we know, is pretty good, or can be. Sometimes they're not. Von Miller's going to be healthy. Should have a good pass rush.
I think Von Miller's on the pup list.
Is he on the pup list?
Yeah, he's out.
I didn't check that. And Brees Hall, is Brees Hall playing? Brees Hall's still out.
He's in the bets, but I don't know if he's playing.
Yeah.
Tanya said Cobb is 100 years old. He is.
I cannot believe Cobb is still playing in the NFL.
He is attached to Aaron Rodgers' pocket.
Yeah.
He's a pocket receiver.
And who else came over?
Lazard.
Lazard, that's it. Yeah.
Dalvin Cook signed. But they have no offensive line. And that, if I'm a Jets fan, that's where I'm concerned. Because even without one, that's going to be tough.
They have Mekhi Broken.
Dude, have you seen his snaps he's played in like the last 3 years?
It's terrible.
It's like less than 2 games for 3 years.
He should be awesome.
He is broken, man. Yeah. Running back is back. Money. Yep. Yeah, I think the crowd's going to be electric. I mean, they finally have a real quarterback for the Jets. Sauce Gardner was Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. I think he put him on Stephon Diggs, and that's going to be a really fun matchup. That's why I probably would not bet Stephon Diggs for a tutty in this game. I would go a different direction. But yeah, the spread, I wanted to say the Bills are just going to take care of them, but I'm a bit nervous about that. I would go a different direction if I'm betting this one, but I do agree. Hard game to pick. Because like you said, the first 2 weeks are so different than from weeks 3 and on, where you kind of have an idea who these teams are, but we just don't know. Can the Jets block anybody? I mean, they look fancy. They got names now. But can they protect Rodgers at all? Like, we'll find out.
So this is my question. So the Bills went through some change last year, and that's why their defense wasn't as good. They were beat up. Their top corner was out all year, basically.
Both
Their safeties were hurt. But also, they lost their best linebacker last year.
Chicago.
So they went through some changes. They had to kind of retool. I think that defense will be back to form this year. Now, I know having no Von Miller there sucks for 4 games, because PUP is 4 games, I think, minimum.
Yep.
But I don't think that the Jets bring a special offense with Aaron Rodgers. Who are you afraid of on that team? It's not Wilson. Wilson was really good because he was the only one. If they would have had anyone else to throw the ball to, I don't think he would have been that great. If it would have been a real quarterback there spreading the ball around, I don't think he wins Rookie of the Year. I'm not nearly as high on these Jets being good. I think they'll be good later. But another thing I don't like about the Jets is if you look at the games they won games that don't surprise you, right? Like, it's not a surprise you beat a divisional rival. That's not a surprise. But then you lose to a team like Carolina, or something. I'm not high on the Jets. Number one, here's another thing. I don't particularly like the idea of all the changes. I agree. Like what I was saying earlier is, you can't make me believe that the Jets offense is further along than the Bills offense. The Bills offense is going to be humming. You know, they know what they're doing. Plus, I think they're transitioning to more of a two tight end offense because one of the things is they haven't been able to run the ball without Josh Allen. So I think that that's why they drafted another tight end, you know? So I think that they're going to play more that style and kind of take the ball out of Allen's hands as a running back. Personally, I actually think the Bills will win this game. I think it's overhyped. I think the Bills are going to be more polished, and I'm not afraid of Sauce Gardner. If he takes Diggs away, great. Let him run around with Diggs all day.
Yep.
You know.
Gabe Davis will be wide open.
Gabe Davis.
And here's the other thing: outside of Wilson, tell me somebody that the Bills can't cover.
Oof.
There's no one. The Bills will have the advantage there.
Yeah. If they double Wilson all night, yeah. Oh, they got McCole Hardman.
Woohoo!
Hardman, he's a speedster.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
I couldn't mention it, but if I was gonna make a bet on this game, Dalton Kincaid, first round draft pick for the Bills, tight end. He's fast. He looked good in the preseason. The Bills will use the tight end. We've seen Allen do that with Knox. You know, Knox can't seem to stay healthy, and he still scores a decent amount of touchdowns. But I think Kincaid, especially if Sauce Gardner is doing a good job with Diggs, then I think Dalton Kincaid at plus 295 to get a touchdown is actually a pretty decent value. Because, and like you said, Gabe Davis is probably not a bad one either, and I think he's plus 270. But somebody's got to score, and it won't all be James Cook because the Bills just don't commit to the run like they probably should. And so I think a stud new first round draft pick tight end and Gabe Davis, who already has the trust of Allen, are probably two pretty decent picks. You know, if you're looking for some good plus money.
I like that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of betting tight ends early in the year that are rookies on anything just because they tend to get overlooked. But I do like this, the way the Bills are heading. And in fact, I think it's the best thing for the Bills that they don't have all the hype this year. You know, really, the Bills have been an afterthought.
Yep.
So they don't have this hype. The Jets have the hype. You know, the Dolphins have a bunch of hype. The Lions have a bunch of hype. Even Seattle's getting some hype.
Yeah, oh yeah. Seattle's popular.
So, you know, the Bills are all the way under the radar now. They're all the way under the radar, where last year they were the darling, and it didn't work.
Yeah. It's probably a good thing that they're flying under the radar.
I think that they maybe feel a little disrespected here. You know, they are Team New York of the last 5 years at least, and our Team Canada or whatever we want to call them, wherever they play. But I just think that the Bills are the better football team, and I know people are going to point to the Jets' defense being a top 5 unit, and that may be true. They may end up being a top 5 unit, and they may not give up a ton of points, but if they win, if they play games that are 24-21 but lose them, that doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
So do you have a bet on this one?
Do I have a bet on this one? No, I didn't. I do not have a bet on this one.
All right, so his record's going to be perfect because he has no bets.
He has one bet.
Huh?
Pacheco over 50.5.
I did. I made one bet.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
What?
That's fair.
What
you got wager?
So
Okay,
are you going Kincaid, Jake?
You may
next
not.
week I will.
You might be in the lead.
I'll bring it next
wrong.
week. I'll bring it next week.
Are you going Kincaid?
He's probably more risky than Gabe Davis. I don't love any bet in this one, but I will probably do like a half unit on Kid Kane because I do think they're going to want to they'll want to use their new toy. And you don't take a first round draft pick on tight end unless you plan on using them. And
What did you say the odds were?
Plus
plus
350.
plus 295
Oh,
on DraftKings,
295.
but I think AZ said that he saw it at plus 360 on FanDuel.
So I have a bet on this game. And I think I like the under.
46.
I think the under is the play in this one.
Okay.
And the reason I think that is because I think both defenses are better than both offenses. And so I like this under.
Okay.
Makes total sense.
Plus, it's prime time. We like a lot of prime time unders, you know.
Yep.
What are you guys seeing it at? Because I got it at a little different number when I bet it.
46.5 right now, DraftKings.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. I got the same number. I thought you said something else.
Seen some different odds on the Dalton touchdown on FanDuel. Pretty significant. But I don't know what they have this game as far as the over-under.
Wager, where do you stand on buying points? Because if you go up to 48.5, we know 48 is key number in the NFL. You only have, it's a minus 147. Or do you feel comfortable?
That's all. So it would take, so that's 7 touchdowns to beat you. Do you guys see 7 touchdowns in this one? 7?
Oh, for the 46.5?
No, for 48.5 would take 7 touchdowns.
Yeah. No.
To lose. You'd have to lose.
Do you feel comfortable with the standard under at 46.5, or would you buy it up to?
Well, I do like it, but what I'm getting at is I like the buy up too. At that, would you say 147?
Yeah, minus 147.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about the only way you lose to 7 touchdowns. I don't see 7 touchdowns. Tell me who's scoring 7 touchdowns in this game?
Thomas.
Thurman Thomas. Oh, John.
No, was it Andre Reed?
Andre Reed?
Yeah.
But so that's that's 28-21. That's 24-27. This game ain't there, is it?
Probably not.
No.
I don't think Rodgers going to have a lot of time to throw.
Right. I that's what I think. I think this is going to be a lot of punting. I think there's going to be a lot of punting the ball back and forth.
27-20, 46.5 loses.
Yeah, and I'm not saying the 46 is a perfect bet, but it's my favorite play in this game.
Yeah. I got you.
But that's what I like in this. I think it's under. In fact, I'll be honest, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we see like 2017. Because Aaron Rodgers, he's notorious for not turning the ball over. Right. He will play the long game every game.
Yep.
And if the Jets defense is as good as they say it is, then the Bills are going to struggle on offense too. They're not going to be great, So in primetime unders, there's definitely some history there. I just feel like it's an under. And I'm not the biggest under player in the world, but I just like this under. Out of all these games, I don't think that the Dallas game will probably go under. I think it'll probably go over. I think that total's too low. And if I was going to play over and under the Chiefs and Lions, I'm definitely going over.
Yep.
I think making the case for the under in the Chiefs and Lions is gambling.
Yeah. It's gambling.
I mean, the teams don't match an under. They don't.
No. The Lions, they surpassed the under 10 times last year. And I believe the Chiefs had the same number.
And now, you get inflated numbers with these kind of teams. But one of the things that's kind of held true over a long time is that the low totals tend to go under and the high totals tend to go over. It's a pretty common thing. where you see the 54 and it goes over, and you see the 42 and it still goes under, so that beats people a lot. That's one of the things that when you're betting those like 10-point teasers, if you see a 42, it's not better to make it 32. It's better to make it 52.
Right.
And just pay attention. Vegas is giving you the answer there. They're giving you that answer. You don't even have to guess.
Right.
If you see a 55, well, make it 45.
Oh,
Don't. If you make it 65, you're still going to get beat 34-31. It's a tie.
Yep. True story. Case in point, Hawaii Stanford. So I pre-bought that under early because the week before it was 60.5. And then I saw you place the over, but it went down to 55.5. But I had it at 60.5. They score 61 points.
Hey, I love Hawaii overs. I like playing Hawaii over.
Yeah,
USC and Hawaii over.
All Stanford throwing up that many points.
Stanford was supposed to be the worst team in Division I Power 5.
That's why I was like 60.5. I gotta take it. 61.
They didn't look like the worst Division I Power 5 team to me.
No, they looked pretty good.
So
I was shocked how much they were throwing the ball, and they have a mobile quarterback. They weren't running it, but now we're getting off topic. So
right. Northwestern looked like the worst Division I Power 5 team to me.
Pound the unders, Big Ten unders, pound them.
Pound the under.
Pound the under.
All right, so let's get to. Let's talk about some upset picks. You don't have to go anything. You can break it down. You can just let us know where you're at on an upset pick. Now, can be anything. If you guys want college football, UFC, whatever, I don't care. Whatever's playing. We're doing it for this week of the NFL, so I don't want it to be in January. But let me hear an under, or not an under, an upset. Sorry.
Upset. Well, you alluded to it earlier. My favorite upset is Pittsburgh over San Francisco.
You're a robber.
Home dog.
Huh? Yep. Home underdog.
What'd you get them at? 3.5 or 2.5?
No, I'm picking the money line.
Money line, I love it.
Yep.
Plus 125, 120.
What's it at now? You see it?
Yeah.
What is it?
It is plus 114.
People are pounding it because I bet it at 120.
Yep. Yeah, reason for, like we alluded to earlier, right? West Coast to East Coast, early game.
Yeah.
Never bodes well. Last 5 meetings between San Francisco and Pittsburgh. And this 5 meetings dates back to 2007, but the home team has won every time, last 5 meetings. My other reason, no Nick Bosa on defense. Okay, last year, when Nick Bosa wasn't in, so without Nick Bosa, the 2 defensive ends that are there, 39 pressures, 5 sacks combined. With Bosa, just Bosa, 90 pressures, 18.5 sacks. That's just Bosa stats. That's huge.
It's huge.
Yep. So
that's why he wants that bag.
Yep. Hopefully Pickett has a breakout year. Kittle is questionable. Don't know if he's going to play. Pittsburgh, I don't know. They're healthy. TJ Watt's healthy. Yeah, that's the reasons I like Pittsburgh. Upset San Francisco.
Jake?
I'm going to go against your boy, so you may not like this one. You ready? By the way, when we're saying upsets, I'm not saying the underdog covers the spread. I mean, I'm
money line.
We're talking money line, right?
Yeah, okay. I'm glad. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I wanted.
So I'm going Cleveland to beat your boy, Joe Burrow. Last year when they played in Cleveland, and Cleveland didn't have Deshaun Watson. Now, Cincinnati didn't have Jamar Chase, but they got absolutely destroyed 32-13. It was never close. Jamar Chase wasn't going to make a 20-point difference. And I don't feel like since he can stop Nick Chubb, I feel like Cleveland's going to be – they're going to be tough this year. And, again, you're talking another home dog. Now it's a rival game or a division game, so the teams know each other. But I feel like Cleveland probably got better in the offseason more than Cincinnati did. And they already, wrecked them last year with a backup quarterback by almost 3 touchdowns. So I just feel like Cleveland plays Cincy well. Like Cincy plays Kansas City well. I don't think they play Cleveland well. It's a weird thing. I feel like Cleveland plays them well, and I think with Deshaun having all off season, and it's not as much of a distraction this year. He's coming in. He's a starter. I just feel like Cleveland's going to get him.
I love it.
And they're plus 114 on DraftKings at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They were on my short list for the upsets too. Yeah, I think I totally agree with everything you said about that. Cincinnati doesn't like to see Cleveland.
They don't.
They don't. Yeah. They're 4-1 against Burrow. They're 4-1. And here's a betting tip. Myles Garrett has 10 sacks against Joe Burrow in 8 games. Or no, not Joe Burrow, right? No, Joe Burrow. 8 games.
Yeah.
10 sacks in the last 8 games. Myles Garrett. Sack prop.
There you go. Yeah.
The sack props are not up yet. This is going to be hard doing this video, because I think once the season starts, I know touchdown props don't come out till like Friday for the Sunday games. So.
Yeah, I mean, we could put it out there and just whatever price they get is what they get.
Right.
But so one of the things, I'm on Pittsburgh too. I think Pittsburgh is the best upset play. I thought Cleveland was the second best upset play, so I like them both.
That was an upset.
Probably not a bad parlay,
Not good.
But so I have some more to add to the Pittsburgh side of it, right? Mike Tomlin, 10-5-1, game one season, 10-5-1 in his career. And there's some specific reasons why. Mike Tomlin plays his players in the preseason. So when they get to the regular season, they're ready. They've played probably 6 quarters of offense. So last year, Jake, who was I on week 1? The year before, week 1.
2 years
I was on. So 2 years ago, it was Pittsburgh Buffalo. Last year, it was Pittsburgh Cincy.
Yep.
Mm.
And I was on Pittsburgh for the same reasons both times. Same reason I'm on here. We get the bonus reasons of no Nick Bosa, of travel, of all these things. We didn't get these last year. So to me, this play is even better.
Yep.
And also, J.J. Watt does not line up in front of Trent Williams. Or T.J. Watt.
T.J. Watt, yes.
So he's going to be lining up on the other side, and I just don't think that's a good thing for them. And also, here's another thing, is we get to see if Brock Purdy is good. Brock Purdy played really well against mediocre competition. Now in the playoffs, he played well too. But the winning streak he had last year, if you look at it, it's a little fishy. He had a great defense, gave him a lot of turnovers. Now, don't get me wrong, if you watch, the eye test was there, right? You saw him ripping the ball down the field. It looked good. But we're talking about going against some bad football teams when he did his little streak. So we'll see, We'll see what he does.
See what happens.
But I love the Pittsburgh play.
Yeah, they're not going to – San Francisco's not going to be awake. It's like, what, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock their time in the morning?
Someone just asked, AZ Crap Shooters, you asked about Cleveland, Pittsburgh for an eliminator pick. I wouldn't touch it for an eliminator pick.
Yeah.
Because they're upset picks.
Yeah.
There's plenty of better games.
And I love taking a little bit of a risk early in the season. Like, in the one I'll probably do, I'm going to probably take Washington in week 1.
I love that.
Because I would never take Washington any other game the rest of the season. But against Arizona, dude, Arizona's tanking for Caleb Williams. So yeah, I wouldn't take even though I like both of these upsets that we're talking about in an Eliminator League or Survivor League, I wouldn't go that far.
I like Washington.
Yes. Oh yeah, Washington I will take. Yeah.
Here's something that I think they're not really noticing about Washington is Washington just got an offensive coordinator that was a part of the last couple Super Bowls. He has a pretty good group of weapons. So if he can turn this quarterback into anything, if he can make this quarterback into anything, they're going to win some games.
Yeah. Well, and he has, I don't know. I mean, he has two good receivers, McLaurin and Johan Dotson. He has a couple good running backs. He doesn't have the greatest line. Their defensive line is elite when healthy, But I think it's good enough to beat Arizona,
Yeah, I hope so.
I'm not taking them versus Philly or Dallas or the Giants. Like, I'm never going to use
Washington. I can't wait for those games because we're going to get points. You can get points with Washington.
Crapsack said, "Oh no, I just took Washington in my eliminator." Week one.
I love it. I think Washington's probably the best eliminator pick because the way you got to play that, you want to save them good teams till late.
Yes.
I think it's a great play. Yeah. Absolute great play.
Yeah, because you'll never use Washington for the rest of the season. So this is a great spot to take them. And bet against Arizona all year long.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if Arizona flirts with undefeated. Oh, wait. With no wins.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I don't think they bring Kyler Murray back this year. If they're 0-4, why would they bring him back?
They made him a captain. Like, what a joke. Like, everybody knows he doesn't study. He doesn't work. He doesn't prepare. And they made him a captain. I mean, just like they're trying to pump up his trade value so they can dump him somewhere mid-season. But come on. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They don't want to go anywhere.
Right, yeah. They want to go to the first part of the draft.
Yep. For sure.
So one of the things that I really like is I call into CBS Sports Radio a lot of times at night and when I'm at work. And I've got kind of a standing in my local one down here. So they answer my calls, right? And they said, give me a hot take for the year. And my hot take for the year was that the Rams do poorly and one of the big quarterbacks goes down and they trade for Stafford. That was my hot take of the year. And I put this on the radio so people heard it. And I can see Miami's quarterback going down. I could see Aaron Rodgers going down. That could happen. That offensive line, he could go down, And the reports earlier in the season, before the season, was that they were trying to trade Matthew Stafford. So somewhere through the year, a team that is already a contender loses their QB. Matthew Stafford comes over for a third-round pick, and, you pay the rest of his salary for that year. I can see it. And he makes another run. Now, does he win? Nah, probably not. But I can see him getting moved mid-season.
Yeah.
You think he goes to Miami? I mean, Tua's going out after this week.
But let's say, let's say Tua goes down in week six, and not coming back, and they're 5-1.
Miami will be 5-1.
Let's say they're 5-1 in week 6. Tua goes down.
Ooh, man.
You can't turn it over to the backup. You gotta make a play.
Right. Yeah. If you're 5-1.
Right.
Absolutely.
Dude, with those weapons, I mean, you have to. Your window's only good for so long. You got to make a play.
You know who does really good with elite receivers? Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. You know who's good for interception per game?
Matthew Stafford.
Yes.
I finally got you to come around on that one.
That is a
So
must
check this out.
play.
Matthew Stafford could have Waddle and Hill throw for 4 touchdowns. He's still going to have an interception.
He will.
And if he doesn't, if he goes the whole game without it, next week martingale it 3 times.
That's it.
Yep.
Triple up, baby.
Yep.
Yeah, Stafford's gold. So, hey, let's go into that really quick. Let's just run through some of that. So, who's our big interception hogs this year? Who are we going to ride with on the interceptions?
As far as quarterbacks,
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think the rookies are, because 3 of the rookies are starting, right? You got C.J. Stroud, who lines up at Baltimore week 1. You have Bryce Young, who has no weapons in Carolina. Anthony Richardson is a heck of a running back who should not be quarterback. Dude, I think you bet any of those guys, and you're going to have a great shot. Now, in terms of regular quarterbacks, was it Dak who led the league in interceptions last year?
Yep.
Yeah, Dak was an interception king.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, here's a question I got, though, on the rookies.
Okay.
One of the things I look at on interception props is I like to have guys that throw the ball 40 times or in that range. I don't think them rookies are going to get there. I think they're going to be mid-20s.
The juice on their interception is going to be higher.
Yeah, it will.
So I do think there's going to be some spots where them are great bets, but I think that guys like Baker Mayfield,
Yeah.
probably pretty good play, most weeks. And I think there's a few other ones. Dak Prescott still hasn't shown that he's very comfortable throwing the football down the middle of the field. So he's probably good for 1 a game or close to it. Still, I don't care that he's changed or not. We've never seen it.
Right.
With Dak?
How about Josh Dobbs?
Okay, I like that one. I like the Dobbs. But how long is Dobbs starting there before they put Tune in? See, I think Tune becomes a starter sooner than later.
They probably trade both of them and call you up to play quarterback.
Yes, and bet me for an interception. But so that's, every year we have this. Okay, so let's talk about Jordan Love. Is Jordan Love going to be an interception hog?
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know how the Bears are favored in that game. I don't know. That's an interesting.
Who's he throwing the ball to?
Who?
Christian Watson?
Christian Watson
and Dobbs.
And Dobbs.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Aaron Jones?
Playing the Bears. The Bears have the worst run defense.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is a season-long thing. How many times are we looking at him to throw picks?
True. Yeah.
Is that a lot?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like we don't know enough. He's been sitting for 3 years. Like, what do we really know?
So now I'm going to give you guys the number one. I haven't talked about it yet. I'm going to give you that as the number one guy. Mr. Russell Wilson. I think we can ride him till he's benched.
Yeah. Throwing interceptions.
Because he's going to throw about 30, 35 times a game.
Yeah.
And I think a handful of them a game are going to be very interceptable.
Here's the question. Does he throw more touchdowns or more interceptions?
He'll throw more touchdowns just because Peyton will put him in those positions.
Yeah.
And, dude, his receiving room is depleted.
Right.
We know that their receiving core just got crushed this summer. So it's going to be tough on him. It's going to be tough on Peyton.
But that's what I think. I think we're going to have quite the interception hog there. I actually think Russell Wilson will get benched before the season's over.
Really?
Yep.
I'm with you on that.
Wow.
I'm with you.
Dude,
I think he gets benched. Now, here's another thing. It wouldn't surprise me if we see Matthew Stafford there. It wouldn't surprise me if there's some kind of trade there.
Oh, gosh. We can't afford another trade. We got nothing to trade. We gave it all up for Wilson.
But I think that the Rams would be more willing to take on Russ's contract, just like they did with the Goff, just no picks. Contract for contract. And I think, because, Matthew Stafford's at the end of his career. Russell Wilson isn't quite.
Yeah. I don't know, but they still have to eat the signing bonus and all that in a trade. You still have to eat the bonus.
Benched for who? You know, they benched him sometimes last year for nobody.
Oh, bench Wilson? We got Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be Stidham.
We got Jarrett Stidham.
Here's the thing. Is it any worse with Jared Stidham?
Oh.
Is it worse?
No, it's not worse. He was what? We shut out the Rams 41-0 preseason. Stidham was Stidham was
Stidham.
so
Okay, so this is what I think. This is what I think Sean Payton's doing. I think Sean Payton is going to make Russell Wilson the scapegoat, and so he can push him out, and they can draft high, and they can get one of these guys that's coming out.
Do they have any picks?
Well, they traded Chubb, and I think they have enough what do you call it, picks added up where they can move up somehow.
Yeah, so draft capital.
Right. And I think that's what they're doing, and I think Sean Payton, he signed that 10-year deal, right?
yeah.
I think he wants one of these studs coming out this year for the 10-year deal. I don't think he wants Russell Wilson for 5 more.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know, man. I hope he returns to somewhat form. Like he's just bad right now. I don't know.
He kind of threw the previous regime under the bus hardcore, and so I think he has a little bit of an incentive here to make Russ perform because he basically just blamed it on the previous staff, you know. So I don't know. It'll be interesting.
But yeah, I just thought that was a really interesting interception hog. I'm going to be looking at it. And, you know, week 1 versus the Raiders, that was one of my other upset picks. I kind of like the Raiders on an upset pick. Just because I don't know where Denver's points are coming from.
I could tell you.
I can't bet the Raiders. I can't bet the Raiders. Yeah.
Seems like an under.
P. Ryan
touchdown.
Bet him to score week 1.
Tell me that game doesn't seem like an under.
What's the?
Oh, it does seem like an under. It's in the 40s. I think it's a lot of games are in the 40s this week. I don't know what that game sits at right now.
It is Denver -4, over-unders 44.
That I think it's 17-10.
Very well could be.
So let's get to some teaser plays. Okay, so guys, if you guys didn't watch us, I guess it was 2 years ago now, we used to give out teaser plays. So, but this year we're going to do it a little different. Everyone's going to give a teaser for the primetime games only. They involve the primetime games only. It could be a 2-pick teaser. It could be a 3-pick teaser. It can't be a 1-pick teaser because it doesn't count. But so, hey, betting unders. Well, unders cash, man. Unders are big money. You got to unders are usually more evident than people want to think. People talk themselves out of unders and they talk themselves into overs. And that's kind of the pros versus Joes thing.
Yeah, it's just more stressful betting unders, right?
It is, yeah.
You're like, just someone score. But betting unders, you know, you get that fumble, you get that pick six, yeah.
The one thing about betting unders is teams tend to not quit trying to score, right? They don't quit trying to score usually, especially if the game's close. And usually games you're going to bet under are going to be close.
Yep.
So teams are always trying to score in those games. So it is tricky. There's a saying I hear all the time in the betting circles. It's not under until it's over.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good one. It's not under till it's over. But yeah, sweating unders, I have a friend who will not. He will not like this guy is a Garrett Crapsack. Yeah, he won't bet unders. Like I'll tell him, I'm like, this is a good underplay. Nope, he will not.
It's kind of like the dark side in craps. People are just they're adverse to it.
Yep. But I think it's just harder. It's harder to. It's more stressful, I think, on an underplay than an overplay. Because an overplay, you don't care. You're just let's get down the field and score points. Underplay, you're like, oh.
So another guy, one of the guys that I talked to a lot about sports betting, he told me, he said, they pay the defense too.
Yep.
They pay those guys too.
They do. They absolutely do. All right, Wager, what's your teaser? You lead it off.
Okay, let me look at it real quick.
You lead off this segment.
So I already put this in before any of these changes, like Kelsey and stuff. So I'm doing a 10-point teaser, 3-team 10-point teaser. If you guys don't know what that is, it's on basically every site now. You go into the teasers, there's an option for 10-point, but you have to put 3 teams together or 3 plays together. All right, so I'm going Kansas City 6.5 to 3.5.
Okay.
I'm going Dallas -3.5 to +6.5 is what I had, and I took the Jets up to 12.5 because I think that game's going under. So I don't think either team wins by double digits.
Okay.
So I got KC, Dallas, Jets, teasing 10 points.
What'd you get on the? Is that a -130?
10 points is -120 on DraftKings.
-120.
On the site that I use this, though, I got -130.
Okay.
It's -120 now?
Yeah.
10-point? 3-team?
Yeah, because it's called the Super. And then if you do what is it, 13? Then it's the Monster.
Yeah.
But you got to do 4 teams or 4 bets if you do 4.
So you got the Chiefs at +3.5?
Well, yeah, they were at 6.5. If you subtract 10, it's +3.5.
Yeah. All right, my teaser is a 7-point teaser.
Ooh.
Plus 130. I did the over on the Chiefs game. Which is fine. I still got it at 47.5 on 7-point. So I'm under that 48.
Okay.
I went the wrong way on the Giants game. I teased through the 0, which you're not supposed to do, but just like you teased through the 0. So I got the Cowboys at +3.5, and then I teased the Jets to +9.5.
So you got a 3-team 7-point teaser?
What's that?
3-team 7-point teaser?
Yep.
So that pays pretty good, right? So the last one was Jets to 9.5?
Yep.
I think it pays well.
What did that end up paying?
It pays +130.
That's pretty good.
I like plus money bets.
Hey, the thing about plus money bets is you only have to win half of them.
Right, exactly. You don't even have to win half. You could be 48%. All right, Jake.
I'm ready.
I have not made mine yet because when we were doing since the news from Kelsey, I haven't actually made it yet. But if I got to do it right now, not without knowing about Kelsey,
Lock it in.
I would do the 10 points just to feel safer, and I think I would take the under in the Kansas City Lions game down to 43.
Taking the under or the over?
I'm sorry, the over down to 43. I want to give the Giants points, but still feel like Dallas is the safer bet. So I would go Dallas from -3 to what, +7?
+7, yep.
And I would, I don't like the Bills game, but I would take the Bills. -7.5 to +7.5.
Yep.
So they'd have to lose by more than a touchdown, which I don't think will happen.
What did you got that at? Minus?
-7.5. Or
No. What's the juice?
Yeah, plus 7.5 for Bills.
What juice did you get on that? 120?
If you do the 10 points, then it's -120 on DraftKings.
Yeah, my sites drew me out of 10 cents.
Is it FanDuel?
No, I use a local state site. It's
Oh.
Saracen. I can use these 3 state sites: Saracen, Bentley, or Oaklawn. Now, I do have a person that helps me out with DraftKings, but the one, when I put these in, I put them all in on Saracen.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So I'm just going to recap what we put out here today. We put out a lot of plays. Jake, you got Mahomes touchdowns, Pollard Dallas combo, Kincaid touchdown, Cleveland for your upset, and a teaser. Lumpy, Pacheco rush yards, Pittsburgh on the upset, and a teaser. And I got Detroit team total over Dallas defensive touchdown, the Bills under, Pittsburgh on the upset, and then a teaser. So let me count this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plays. I didn't count Pittsburgh twice, but we have 11 plays.
Here we go.
So for us to be somewhat successful in this, what do we need? 7 wins?
We're going 8-3, baby. We're going 8-3.
8-3. I love it.
We're going 8-3.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if we do better than that. Like, I actually wouldn't be surprised at all if we have like one weird loss. I'm trying to think of where here's the thing: is the touchdown props are kind of like, I feel like if we hit one touchdown prop, like obviously if we hit the plus 600, if I hit that like wipes out 6 bets. I mean, so.
Well, even the Kincaid one at plus 295.
Right. That's 3 bets.
Kincaid was saying, or AZ was saying he sees it at plus 360 at FanDuel. Dude, that's 3.5 bets.
And so, like, Jake, besides your teaser, all your bets are plus money.
Yeah.
So if you go 2-2 on those, you were a winner.
True story. Hey, I went 3 for 3 today on home run props. So
see?
I'm either due be hot or I'm crashing and burn.
Home run props are very similar to touchdown props, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100% agree.
The fun thing to do is pick 5 guys to score a touchdown and do the 2-pick round robin. That's my favorite thing to do.
That is a big money maker if you get all 5.
Oh, but then if you don't, like, I think even if you hit 2 out of 5, depending on their odds, you're breaking even.
Oh yeah, absolutely. With that kind of plus money, yeah, because you're getting good return.
Yeah.
Now that's a great way to play, especially if you have some bankroll to do that with every week. Because the one thing about round robins is they're expensive.
Well, yeah. 5. If you go 5 picks, right? It's 10. You got to pay 10 bets.
Right. So, but the thing is if they're hitting, they can really, really be good.
Yep, absolutely.
I actually love round robin bets myself, but most of the time, the guys that I'm putting out information to, they don't want to invest that kind of money in those kind of bets, that kind of unitage. They don't want to put that many units out in essentially one bet.
I would say with the round the 10, I'd make maybe like 1.5 units. Like the total is 1.5 units.
Right.
I definitely dummy down. With playing around with it, I don't put anything that's -150 or larger, meaning -200. I will not put that pick in there, because what I found out is if you go larger than that, if you're putting a bunch of -200, 220s, if you go 3 for 5, you're not even getting your money back. You're losing money still on those bigger favorite plays. So round robins
So
minus 150 and lower, and I only do the 2-pick. I don't play the whole, the 3-pick, the 4-pick, the full parlay. I just play the 2-pick.
yeah, I love that. I don't think you should parlay more than 2 games anyway, ever. I don't think there's a reason to do that.
Yeah, 3 years? We've been doing this for 3 years now, and yeah, my discipline is kicking in a little bit. I'm betting a lot more single bets. Parlays kill the bankroll. So
let's do one more thing, and I didn't put this in our write-up thing, but okay, what's the lock of the week? What's the one game? And I want you guys to pick a winner, not a winner side. You could pick a total if you wanted to total too. But what's the one game where they're going to win?
Washington is my lock of the week.
There's no way the Ravens lose at home to the Texans either. Are those the biggest, like the worst payouts? Yeah, those two are the worst payouts, followed by Seattle, which I would also say Seattle losing at home to the Rams is highly, highly unlikely. But those would be the three worst, three biggest odds. And then after that, you start getting down in the minus 250 range, which Vikings at home versus Tampa, Baker, and then right after that, it's Chiefs minus 238. But yeah, I mean, if the Ravens lose at home to CJ Stroud in Houston, then they don't deserve to do anything, sure. But I agree with Washington. That's what I'll probably bet in my Survivor League.
So I like both of them too, and them are my favorite too as well. And I actually think they both cover. So I actually think they both easily cover their bets. The one thing that you always worry about just a little bit is somehow the Houston defense is good, somehow, and Lamar jitters. But one of the things is, and you can point this out, if you go back and look at Lamar week ones, they're all pretty good. Week one, he's been pretty good. I like Baltimore just a little better, just because I do think Washington has more potential to lay an egg, as far as Baltimore is a more structured, like for sure team.
Sure.
But I think you could parlay those. It's not even going to be good payout, but I feel like you could parlay those money lines and it's a win. You could bet them individually. It's a win. I don't see the path that Houston or Arizona wins, barring like Sam Howell just having a terrible, terrible day.
Yeah.
I don't think Houston wins. I just don't see. I don't know the path that Houston wins. I just don't know that one.
At Baltimore, yeah.
Lamar
But
early.
I like both of those.
Here's another. So I heard this stat today. I would almost lock it if they weren't playing this team. So the number one draft pick quarterback in the last 14 times is 0-13-1 straight up.
But they're playing Atlanta.
1-13 against the spread. But here's the caveat: they play Atlanta. I can't bring myself to lock that in.
And that's basically a rookie quarterback too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that was an interesting stat I heard today.
Who wins that game? Nobody?
Atlanta.
A tie.
They're at home.
It's a tie.
Atlanta have a good offensive line. You got Bijan Robinson. Atlanta.
Atlanta has more weapons for sure, right? They got the tight end. They got Drake London. They got the running back now. Yeah, they got more weapons for sure.
They got two running backs. They got Robinson and Algier.
Yeah.
And I guess count Ritter, because I don't know
that,
if he can ball.
They should for sure be better than Carolina.
Right.
And also Carolina's best defensive players in like a holdout.
Yes.
Yeah, I love Carr. I love the Saints this year. Jake talked me all the way into the Saints this year. I think the Saints are their division winner. I think they are very under the radar loaded.
For that division especially.
That
I
was
mean, they're not going up against like the AFC North or AFC East. Like for that division, I mean,
this is the first time in, they said, I think 30 years that there's no division winner minus 200 or worse. First time.
Yeah, it makes sense because there's no for sure divisions, right?
Yep.
You would say Kansas City's the most because they haven't lost their division in like 25 years now or something.
Yeah, the Broncos haven't beat them since Patrick Mahomes came on board. Yeah.
But
And
even the Kansas City, especially with this Kelsey injury turns into 4 games, no Chris Jones till week 8. And it lines up for the Chargers to maybe take it over.
dude, everyone's talking Chargers for the last 20 years. Oh, this is their year. It never happens.
can't stay healthy.
It's the Chargers. It's not going to happen.
The Cowboys of the AFC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least the Cowboys have been to the Super Bowl. Or actually, the Chargers have been one.
When the Chargers went to the Super Bowl was the last time the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl, too. It was in the same time period.
I feel like the Cowboys, over the last 10, 15 years, they choke their opportunities away. The Chargers just can't stay healthy. I mean,
The Chargers choked one of them away. The
Yeah.
Troy Brown strip.
Yeah, but I mean, like most years, it's just like last year. I mean, they missed so many games to not just normal players, but literally Pro Bowl players.
Yeah.
Slater, he was all pro as a rookie. It's Bosa. Derwin James missed a handful of games. Keenan Allen missed like 7. Mike Williams missed 6 or 7. Like, it's their key players. And it's like not 1 or 2 guys. It's like every year it's just a handful of them. I would love to bet on the Chargers, but I'm actually really looking forward to that game because Vic Fangio is such a good defensive coordinator, and him with Miami, dude, I am very curious. I can't wait to see that game because I think Miami is going to be a really tough out with him, coaching their defense this year.
If that game wasn't coast to coast for Miami, that was one of my upset picks too. But coast to coast, I just didn't want to risk it.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's not as prevalent East Coast going to West Coast.
Right.
It's not as prevalent.
But I didn't like that angle on it. So, and it's a short spread. It's only like 3. I mean, makes sense because everyone expects Miami to be able to score.
It's the second highest total, 51 over under.
It'll probably get that. I mean, I expect the Chargers to score too. I mean, they still are effective on offense. So
yeah, I mean they got the best quarterback in the league. It is what it is.
Oh yeah. I will say this. I'll say second best.
Yeah,
I'll buy that.
I would take him number 2.
I mean, I feel like this. If you're lining them up, who do you take over him that's not named Mahomes?
Right.
I don't know.
Stuff,
You don't take Burrow? I know
No.
Jake doesn't take Burrow.
No, I don't hate him
Burrow?
I don't hate him like Wager does, but I would still take Herbert over him.
I think Herbert has done more with less for sure.
Absolutely. If Herbert had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson in college, he probably would just like Burrow did.
If you insert Herbert into the Bengals Super Bowl, the Bengals win.
I don't know about that.
That was the Rams year.
That was the Rams defense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You put Herbert there instead of Burrow, that first half doesn't go like that.
May not. because that wasn't since he didn't have a good offensive line, and Herbert is definitely a better athlete. I mean, they're not even close to being the same level athlete. Yeah,
I,
that'd be
I'm
interesting.
just now the one big knock on Herbert is the playoff loss he just suffered. That's like his biggest knock, right? Because that was a meltdown. Like you had all those turnovers, your defense finally showed up, and you don't win. That should have been a blowout.
Yeah, no, but that Jacksonville game, that Jacksonville team, I cannot wait to see Jacksonville this year.
So that would be my other choice for second would be Lawrence based on age and stuff. But him and Herbert are about the same age.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I feel like I like Herbert's playing style better.
yeah, I can see that. But yeah, like you said, I mean, Trevor Lawrence's rookie year was the Urban Meyer 11 months of just pure. It's hard to even call that like a rookie year. I mean, what chaos and kicking people and like, yeah, I mean,
Total
that was
waste.
just a disaster of a year. And so, and it took him half of last year to kind of get going. And then the last 9 games, dude, he was unbelievable. And then in the playoffs, he threw those 4 picks, but he has the right mindset. And that's what I was reading an article on Jacksonville today. And that's what the teammates and the coaches talk about. Like, dude, he never gets too high, never gets too low. Like the moment's never too big for him. I mean, remember, when Alabama had their greatest team of all time talk, it was 19-year-old Trevor Lawrence who absolutely destroyed them. I mean, murdered Alabama and gave them their worst loss in saving history. It's still to this day, it was a 19-year-old Trevor Lawrence in a natty against Bama's best team ever. The moment was big for Trevor. And I feel like with the addition of Calvin Ridley this year, dude, they're gonna be tough. 3 guys last year with Trevor Lawrence had their best seasons of their career. Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, maybe something. But now you get a true number one, really healthy. They're gonna watch on offense, man. They're gonna be. I think they're probably Colts and get one. Colts. I think they're vote.
Could make that your lock of the week.
I don't want to use them yet because I will use Jacksonville later. I think
So Tanya is talking about Hurts.
Yep, I just saw that.
I myself, I'm not buying Hurts yet. I think you can't run the ball that much as a quarterback. So unless that changes, I'm not buying Hurts. I think Hurts is great. Hurts has all the right qualities, and Hurts is a good leader. But you can't run the ball that much. So unless they change that, he's going to get Josh Allen.
He was the best player on the field Super Bowl Sunday.
he was.
He was awesome.
He was. He played lights out that game.
Pop quiz. Tell me the
Shot.
top 3 guys for rushing touchdowns last year. Top 3. He's cheating.
Well, obviously Hurts must have been. Wasn't Hurts the top?
So Jamal Williams had 17. He had 4 more rushing touchdowns than anybody else, right? And he's on the Saints now. Part of the reasons why I think Saints are going to be good. But Eckler and Hurts both tied with 13 touchdowns. So Hurts tied for the second most rushing touchdowns in the league. And he is fit, he's strong, he's an athlete, but this is the NFL, and I agree with you. That much running, even behind what is widely considered the best offensive line in football, I still think you don't want your quarterback doing that much running. I don't want my quarterback number 2 in the league in rushing touchdowns. Yeah, it sounds good. It's also why he missed the last couple of games of the regular season. Like, I don't want him running that much if I'm Philly, Like I would not want. I don't want to see him that high. I don't need you at 13 touchdowns. I need you at 8. Like hand it off.
So Tanya's saying don't buy Vic either. I loved Michael Vick. I thought Michael Vick was great. But Michael Vick never won anything.
Right.
Nope.
Won nothing.
Oh, yeah.
He was fun to watch. He was exciting to watch.
Well, I think he won some bets on dogs.
Oh.
I don't know.
Oh.
But no, I like Michael Vick. I think he was great. And I'm not saying Hurts is bad by any means. I think he's a really good quarterback. I just think it's not sustainable.
Agreed.
And so to me, if you're not sustainable at the quarterback position, then you have a shelf life. I want the guys that don't have the shelf life. I want the guys that can play till 40. I would rather have that. We can find a running back. We can find a tight end. We can find a receiver. You only get one shot at the quarterback usually in your coaching tenure. Usually it's one time. You get the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even look at Josh Allen. Like, he didn't miss time, but from his week 9 injury on his shoulder last year, he went from right there behind Mahomes as far as best quarterback stats in the league. And then after week 9, he went down to like 16th. I mean, like middle of the pack quarterback. And he's a lot bigger than Jalen Hurts, at 6'5", 250, 240, 250. You can't have your quarterbacks be running that much. I think that's goofy. They don't
The
have to
one
be
thing
Tom Brady.
I'll say this. Jalen Hurts' running is smart. He's a smart runner. Like he's a very intelligent runner. He's not like Lamar Jackson all over the place, and he's not power like Allen. He's a far smarter runner. But I still think you can't run that many times at quarterback. Can't. It's the same reason why we're not going to see what Justin Fields can be. Because they're going to run him a bunch. Even if Justin Fields is supposed to be really good and he is making strides, he's only going to play 8 games a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not going to last very long.
No, that's why I've said since his career started in the NFL, he's a heck of a running back.
He's got to learn how to throw the ball, man.
He's an exciting running back who just happens to play quarterback.
So Tanya brought up about Hurts' arm versus Vic. Vic had one of the best arms in the NFL.
As far as, I wouldn't say accuracy, though. I'll take Hurts on accuracy.
But I think she's referring to is the power. Vic, for the years he played, he was widely considered one of the biggest arms in the NFL.
Yeah, he could chunk it, but I don't think he can read a defense, and I don't think he has any accuracy at all. He had no touch. He had a rocket. He had no touch. I think Jalen Hurts can hit those middle routes, the underneath stuff. And I think, like she just said, he was a coach's kid. Like, he understands the game. He processes it, different than Vic.
I like Hurts. Like, if you gave me Hurts and you said you're going to only run 5 times a game, I'll take him. Because I feel like he's going to do all the other stuff right.
Yeah.
But if you tell me he's going to run 15 times a game, you can keep him.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now,
it's the same thing with Lamar. I feel like if Lamar went to Sean Payton, to McVay, to even Belichick, where they're going to rein him in and stick him in the box and make him a quarterback to where he only uses them legs as a weapon, I think he's a much better player. But we'll never see that because Harbaugh has built this team around Lamar being this dynamic athlete. It's not built around him playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Sean Payton needs to do with probably the best dual threat quarterback of our generation, Russell Wilson. Come on, baby. You guys are hating on.
I will say, out of all this stuff we're talking about here, Russell Wilson has accomplished more than all those other guys.
What, nine-time Pro Bowls, been to 2 Super Bowls, should have 2 rings.
He's the player formerly known as Russell Wilson.
This guy.
So Hurts has 1 Super Bowl appearance, and Lamar has an MVP. That's out of all the dual threats in the league. That's it. Besides Russ is the only He's the only one that's accomplished anything.
Yeah. He had the Legion of Boom. I will give Russell this. He can throw the deep ball. I love him throwing
He's
the
got
deep
a
ball.
beautiful deep ball.
He can throw the deep ball.
We just have to have receivers out there and not the other team.
Yep. Exactly. True story. 11 on 0. We just need to go.
Oh, man.
But yeah, that's I just when you get to talking about these guys, and I call them dual threats because they are primarily effective running. Because I don't call Josh Allen a dual threat as much because his running is more situational.
Okay.
I think they call 3 or 4 plays a game as Josh Allen runs. I think I think they call 10 a game for Hurts runs and probably 20 for Lamar. Whether he checks out of them or not, but I think they call that many. Doug Williams, Washington Super Bowl, yeah, but Doug Williams showed up for one game and had a great team around him. I mean, I don't know where this is heading. I have a feeling this is heading in a direction I'm not talking about. So, but you could talk about Patrick Mahomes as being a dual threat, but he's not. And I can show you if you go look at the rushing totals, go look at the betting rushing totals. You can see which guys are considered dual threats because all their rushing totals will be in the 30s and 40s, where and even Lamar sometimes like 75.
Yeah.
Where you look at Mahomes, it's in the teens.
Yeah, his is 17.5 this week. Goff, this is another play that I kind of want to make. Goff is 3.5.
3.5. I saw that too.
I know. Goff is great. If you can get him under 7 yards, Goff, it seems like he always just has one play where he runs for 5 to 10 yards.
And well, outside of Brady, besides Brady, all of those guys have that one scamper out the back to get a first down, right? So anything 5 yards and under is almost worth a play because they're going to have the one run where they go grab a first down.
Yep. The one bet I was almost made was Daniel Jones was 35.5.
See, Daniel Jones is like a dual threat. And you see how high his rush total is. And I think you can look at that across the league where you'll see
100 yards.
That. What now?
In the Minnesota game, didn't he have like 100 yards rushing?
Yeah, he was running the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
I actually think Daniel Jones is one of the better runners in the NFL.
He's pretty good. What were you looking up?
Just to see what he had for rushing yards last year.
I would take Daniel Jones running the ball over Jalen Hurts running the ball, not from effectiveness, but because I think Daniel Jones needs it. I think he needs that in his game, where I don't think Hurts needs to run the ball. I think he can just play quarterback. He could just throw the ball over the field if he wanted.
They got plenty of talent.
Where I think Daniel Jones has to be able to run to be effective.
I'll be curious if they do the running back carousel in Philly this year.
They got rid of Sanders.
Yeah, Sanders went to Carolina. They got Swift. Gosh.
And Gainwell.
And then who's the other one?
For which team?
For Philly.
Gainwell was money in the playoffs.
Boston, whatever his name is.
They don't have
Boston Scott.
They don't have him.
By the way,
he's the giant killer.
Daniel Jones running yards per game last year is 44.3.
That's pretty high.
That is.
So his running total is under, but he's also playing the Dallas defense. So
yeah, I like Daniel Jones as far as Like, this is what I think. I think Daniel Jones is like the premier backup quarterback. Like,
Yeah.
if you could get him on a good team as the backup, because you could stick him in because of his ability, he doesn't have to know everything. He can always just run.
Right.
But I
Right.
don't think he's a sustainable starting quarterback. I think he's at his ceiling. I don't think we see better out of Daniel Jones.
No, and he's definitely not worth 40 million, in my opinion.
But who else would you get? That's the issue. That's what the Giants were looking at. Who
No,
else?
and it's where the NFL is now, right? If you got to pay your quarterback 40 million if you want to keep him. That's who it was. Penny. They got Rashad Penny from
Wherever the heck he was.
what's that?
Wherever the heck he was.
He was in
Seattle.
Seattle. He was in Seattle.
Yeah.
So one more question to you guys. Out of all the best future plays, what do you guys think is the best future play out there? And it could be anything. It could be MVP, it could be Super Bowl, it could be win total.
Oh, you didn't let us prepare for this one.
You can't bet the Colorado Buffaloes because that already went away.
No, yeah, I know. Best future plays. Oof. I personally like the Saints to win the division, but I think they've been bought down. They were above 200. What are they now? You know what a great division bet is? Is the Packers. Packers are a division bet. Let me pull up the odds here. So the Packers are plus 400. The Bears are plus 380. Like, I don't know. I think there's good value on the Packers play. I mean,
Ton of value.
The question is can Jordan Love be good? Like, I don't know.
I agree with the Saints. I think the Saints to win their division, and I got it at 250 when I bet it. So, I think that's one of the better plays.
It's plus 105 right now. So it's been bought down quite a bit.
I have another one that I really like, and it's George Pickens over 750 receiving yards.
Okay.
He was over that last year in a shortened type role. He's going to be the number one there this year. I know that they have Deontay Johnson, but Pickens is going to be the one. He's like 6'8" or whatever the hell he is. He's just a high point beast. He averages about 16 yards a catch, something like that. And he was over that total last year.
Yeah.
And so I feel like he's going to get to I think he bumps 1,000 this year. I think he has one of the higher touchdown totals because that's who they're going to throw to in the red zone.
They are. I would agree. Pickens second year. I'm high on the Steelers. Steelers is a sneaky division pick too.
I agree. I think they're one of the better division picks because the problem with that division is all the teams are good, right? There's not a bad team in that division.
Yeah. It's the first time. So it's the first time that the win totals have been 40 or higher for a division. First time ever in football for that division.
Crazy.
The over-under for their season win totals?
Yeah.
Yep.
There are some that I like. I don't know if I'd say like my favorite, but there are some that I like. NFC West. What's the order of that division, Wager?
Chiefs, Chargers,
NFC.
Raiders. Oh, NFC.
Yeah.
NFC West.
What's the order of this?
I still think it's San Francisco.
Okay.
1. I'm not as high on Seattle as everyone else. I think Geno Smith might have had a flash in the pan year, but the problem is the other teams suck.
Okay.
So it's probably Seattle and then Rams, Arizona.
Right. Okay. But we're pretty comfortable that it's going to be San Fran most likely winning it, and most likely Seattle there, and then the
Yeah.
right? But like Seattle to finish second in the division is plus 135. I feel like that's a great plus money bet. The Rams are horrible. The Cardinals are trying to lose. And Seattle's most likely not going to beat out San Fran. I feel like
Right.
it's just a great slot, So you can bet San Francisco to win the division at minus 160, or just bet Seattle to be second in the division at plus money at plus 135. And I feel like that's how I would do it. So like there's bets that are like that out there, and I'm not saying that's my favorite futures bet, but come on, the Rams they're going to be terrible. They have no returning starter on defense out of all 11 guys, other than Aaron Darnold, who played 500 snaps last year. And it's usually viewed as guys coming back who played at least 700 snaps are your like normal guys who got a lot of playing time. Aaron Donald played like 593, and then there's like a huge drop off. There is no, and we're talking an 11-man unit, and you got one guy. Nobody, The Rams are going to be terrible, and the Cardinals are going to be terrible. Seattle's probably a very safe slot in at the second pick. I don't see how Seattle's going to be worse than the Rams or Cardinals, and I don't see how they're going to be better than San Fran. So I don't know. There's bets like that I'll end up making that I like, but I feel like that's a better play than betting San Fran to win the division at minus 160.
Oh, I agree. I love that. So those are the bets you got to like do deep dives into those websites for and stuff. That a lot of people just look at the front page, and they're like, okay, minus 3.5, let's go.
Yeah. Here's a great one. The number 1 pick in the 2024 draft, Caleb Williams, minus 500. Just throw down 500 to win 100. Do it.
What about Travis Hunter?
He can't come out this year.
Yeah, it's
this year.
But man, he's going to be a top 5 pick for sure.
He's going to be a monster.
He's going to be sick.
Oh yeah, I think just his ability alone. The problem in the NFL will be they'll try to change him. He can go literally like 2 places that they'll even consider both sides of the ball.
He wants to stay in Colorado. He came out and said that. For some reason, a lot of people were saying he's going to Green Bay.
I hope not.
His favorite team is the 49ers, but he would like to stay in Colorado.
So out of all the teams in the NFL, who's going to let him play both ways? I think there's, off the top of my head, there's only 3 teams. I think the 49ers are one. I think they would be like, yeah, we'll let you play both ways.
Yeah.
I think the Patriots are because they've done it.
Yeah.
And I think the Ravens might. I think the Ravens kind of fit that mold.
What about the Cowboys?
They've done it in the past.
With Neon Dion.
Would they do it now, though?
As long as Jerry Jones is still alive, yes.
But you put him on this Cowboys team, right? They're not going to want him to play receiver.
Jerry Jones is still in charge, yes.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, Jerry Jones is still in charge.
But I don't think there's very many NFL teams that are just going to be on board with that.
What is your favorite future bet, Wager?
I like the Saints. I think they're the best division win pick. But if Atlanta catches fire, Atlanta may. Where does Atlanta get 10 wins from, though? I just don't see it. So it's probably the Saints. And then, like I said, I like the George Pickens play.
That might be the one division where the team doesn't get 10 wins to win the
The
division.
NFC South.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, if you look at the Saints, I'm gonna bring up the Saints schedule.
They do have the easiest schedule in the league by win.
It's crazy easy. Okay, so they start Titans, Panthers, Packers, Bucks, Patriots, Texans.
Yeah.
And they get the Jags, then it's Colts, Bears. They get Vikings, then it's Falcons, Lions, Panthers, Giants, Rams, Bucks, Falcons. There's 10 wins there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. The NFC South has the weakest schedule in the league, and the AFC East has the toughest. So yeah, that's how the NFL does the parity, right?
Yeah. It's one of the reasons, too, that the good teams stay good is some of the schedule. Because when they get the down years of their schedule, that's just a benefit to them. So, like, let's say this year the Chiefs are matched up with, I don't know, the AFC South. So there's 3 wins, and then Jacksonville's a toss-up, right? And so that's one of the deals that when they're matched, so every now and then the good teams get matched up with the easy divisions. And if it happens on both sides, both of the division matchups, now you're looking at a bunch of extra free wins.
Well, you're back.
Yeah. So, but then you see teams like let's say the AFC North is matched up with the AFC East and then the NFC East. Now the AFC North is screwed. You know, they might have the best team in the NFL, but 12 of their games are impossible.
Yep. Yep.
And so sometimes the scheduling dictates who ends up in the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's all by design.
It could be. That's what I was saying today when I heard about all the bets. There's more bets on the Colorado Buffaloes right now than every team combined in the NFL.
That's insane. That is insane.
Fix is in.
The fix is in.
It's still -3 right now. Still -3, and the over-under is 59.5.
They have not moved it. They have
So
not.
this is how this goes down. The Buffaloes are going to come out hot, and then there's going to be some miraculous crap happen. And next thing you know, there's a kick return and a fumble return, and then Nebraska covers.
And then a pass interference.
Yeah.
Pass interference to get them down to the goal line.
A replay happens, the lights go out,
Yeah.
they come back, the ball's back on the 5-yard line.
Oh man, I don't know. That one's scaring me. Why hasn't
I can't do it. Everything on it says Buffaloes. Everything. I don't believe in Nebraska, and I do believe in Rule, but I don't believe in Nebraska's talent, and I absolutely love fading their quarterback. Jeff Sims, I love fading him. I faded him at Georgia Tech all the time.
Yeah.
He is the perfect fade quarterback because he's going to throw you the ball a few times.
He's a turnover machine.
Even at Georgia Tech, where they only threw 6 times a game, he threw 3 picks.
Man.
What about Northwestern at home getting 1.5 points versus UTEP?
Man, Northwestern looked terrible.
That's when you know times are hard.
They looked real bad. Look, Rutgers looked bad in that game, looked terrible in that game, and Rutgers blew them out. And Rutgers looked like crap. Like when I was watching that game, because I watched that whole game, by the way, it was the slowest football.
Why did you do that?
Because I had money on it.
So did I, and I didn't watch it. I didn't need to.
But you watch that game, and then you watch like Colorado TCU or the Florida State. So I watched that game, and then the same day I watched Florida State LSU, and the speed was like, wow, is this in fast? Did they speed this up to 1.5 or something? You know, because it was so crazy how different it was.
What about Texas State? They win at Baylor. And this week they're getting 12.5 points versus UTSA.
It's a
I
letdown game.
I just don't know enough about Texas State to really make a.
I know.
I do know a little bit of UTSA, and they've been a profitable play here and there, but yeah, it feels like very let downy. It feels like, fat and sassy, as some of the other cappers like to talk about. It just feels like, yeah, a letdown spot. Now the problem is they're getting points. So how do you have a letdown spot getting points?
I don't know.
They're not supposed to win, and it's double digits, right?
Yeah, it's 12.5.
So I mean, that's 2 touchdowns basically. So you're already supposed to basically get blown out. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Texas State's the play again. I don't know enough about that game to talk about it, but yeah, the win against Baylor, just the talent difference that those two teams should have, size difference on the lines. Baylor should have won the game. I mean, based on just the analytics, based on the what you have versus what they have, and they didn't. And this happens every now and then, right? It doesn't happen a lot, but every now and then, one of these really small schools beats a really big school, and it just happens every now and then.
Appalachian State.
A&M last year.
Yeah. And then Michigan too. Appalachian State.
Oh yeah, way back, like 2007, I want to say.
And I think Arkansas a couple years ago lost to. Well, they lost to Liberty last year, but Liberty was better than people think.
They were.
The Arkansas lost to a team too a couple years ago. It was just weird. They shouldn't have lost, but it happens. This stuff happens.
Yep. First couple weeks, lots of upsets.
But anyways, I'm going to get out of here, guys, because it's 1:07 here.
Yeah, I'm getting tired.
And thank you guys for being on here with me. Thanks everybody for watching, and thank one person for commenting. I would love for everyone else to comment too. We love you, Tanya. Thank you for hanging out and being our content fodder. Love it. Come back every week. We love that stuff.
Absolutely.
So yeah, absolutely. You seem relatively knowledgeable too, so that's very nice. It's nice to have people that aren't just like, go Cowboys.
Oh gosh. Go Cowboys. Oh.
That stuff gets old, I don't mind homers if you're a homer with context. My guy over there, Jake, he always talks about context. It's okay to be a homer if there's context. But if the context says you're going to lose, be that homer too. Be like, yeah, we're probably going to lose.
Yep.
I'm a Broncos fan just like Lump over there, and I have no aspirations for this season.
Me neither.
So
beat the Raiders. I just want to beat the Raiders.
I would love to beat the Chiefs sometime in this decade, but do we? Probably not. I mean, do we ever beat Mahomes? Maybe not.
They have the number one locked up, and we play him last week. Maybe.
There you go.
But we had that last year.
No, but Mahomes.
We almost won.
Mahomes still played.
I know, but remember there was a fumble.
Yes.
And we had the game.
I know.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We almost had it with Drew Lock.
Yep.
Demaryius Thomas. Was that Drew Lock?
No, that was Case Keenum.
That was Case Keenum. Yeah. Demaryius Thomas dropped the touchdown.
Yep.
I know. There's been times. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not super high on this season. I don't know what their win total is. I haven't even looked. Is it 8.5, 9.5?
Yeah, it's some stupid number like that.
Yeah.
Some really high number.
I would go under.
You know how many analysts I've seen have them in the playoffs? It's a bunch of them.
I was listening to a betting show, and they were talking I guess somewhere in the market, I haven't looked at DraftKings, but somewhere there's a prop bet out there that you can bet all 4 teams to make the playoffs.
Wow.
And they're talking about the North Division, AFC North.
Okay.
All 4 teams. Because
Stop.
7 teams, right? There's 7 teams in the playoff.
But then that means, okay, so say Kansas City wins theirs. You got 4 from AFC North. That's 5. So that only leaves 2 spots. Somebody from the AFC East has to get in. Let's just say Buffalo. At least 1 spot left, and that would be the division winner of the AFC South, which is probably Jacksonville. So it means Miami is not going to get in over like a 9-8. Cleveland, Cincy, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, whoever, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see how that happens mathematically. I just don't. I mean, I feel like a team like Miami is probably going to have more wins than the 4th team in a division. I don't know. That would just be my thought. I don't know.
So the only way that happens is they all split with each other, and then they all dominate the other teams they play.
Yep. They have to split. All right.
I don't know how that happens either. It's not realistic.
I don't think so.
All right, guys. I'm getting out of here. Y'all have a great day.
See you later. Have a good one.